Welcome back to the Bronx Journal. I'm your guest host, Jennifer Delgado. When the holidays come around, the first thing that comes to mind is parties and great dishes. It's not staying healthy. Many tend to gain extra pounds on the holidays, but now there's an organization, the Holiday Marathons, that helps promote healthier habits and possibly keep those pounds off. Unfortunately, the Holiday Marathons is struggling to continue to stay in the Bronx. Joining us today is Holiday Marathons co-founder Mike Arnstein. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So what exactly is Holiday Marathons?
The Holiday Marathons is an organization that basically tries to promote healthier habits on holidays through a community gathering in a park for exercise. And that's pretty much what the Holiday Marathons is all about.
So how was this idea started?
My co-founder, Mike Oliva, and I are accomplished runners. We've done a lot in our careers, and in 2010, the beginning of November, we were out for a run, and we were talking about how lucky we were to have running and exercise introduced into our lives. And we decided we wanted to try to give back to the community. So we thought, why not we just hold a community event on Thanksgiving, kind of a Thanksgiving, and we'll put up a few dollars for bananas and oranges and water, and we'll have a Thanksgiving Day race. We thought it was kind of a good idea, and maybe we'd get maybe 50 or 100 people would show up, and 10 days before Thanksgiving, we put up a website, and Thanksgiving came around, and we had almost 400 people show up for the event.
Wow, that's awesome. So why the Bronx?
Van Cortlandt Park is a historic park. It's
Right.
it's kind of a runner's park. I moved to the Bronx specifically to be near Van Cortlandt Park. I've been
Yeah.
running there since I was in high school, and it's a wonderful place to have a diverse community congregate in a beautiful park.
And so what are the ages for participants?
Well, our theme is to be inviting to new runners, for people that aren't even runners. Walkers can come. We want children, young and old, anybody who wants to try to adopt healthier habits on holidays.
Right, so you don't have to be in shape
No.
to be a part of this,
No,
basically.
definitely not.
So how many miles is the marathon?
Well, the reason why we call it the Holiday Marathons is that we developed a course in Van Cortlandt Park that was exactly a quarter marathon distance. A standard marathon is 26.2 miles, and a quarter marathon is 6.55 miles. So if anybody wanted to run a quarter marathon, they do one loop of the park. If they want to run a half marathon, they'd run 2 loops. Or if they want to run a full marathon, they run 4 loops. So we give the opportunity for people to come out and say they ran a quarter marathon. They can still use that big word marathon
Right.
and then go home and eat their Thanksgiving dinner.
Great. So is it just focused on specific holidays, or is it just to maintain a healthier lifestyle?
Well, what happened was Thanksgiving was such an amazing event, and we didn't really spend a lot of money on it. I mean, we went out and we bought some bananas and oranges. The park permit was $25. People from the Van Cortlandt Track Club, which is also very involved in Van Cortlandt Park, came out and volunteered to help put on the race. We gave out forks for all the finishers. And so we said it was such a great idea, hey, let's do Christmas.
Right.
And Christmas was fantastic. We gave everybody a Santa hat, and we had a Christmas tree, and people brought gifts, and we put it under the Christmas tree, and then when they finished the race, everybody took a gift. So it was like a gift
that's
grab
great.
bag. And we had jingle bells on our shoes, and we had about 400 people come for our Christmas race. So we said, okay, this is just working out too well. Let's just have one on every major holiday, and that's what
Right.
we've been doing since.
And so you were talking about fees. Do you get sponsorship, or do you have to pay a certain fee to join?
We had a
marathons?
donation box at the races, and we took in enough money to cover all the costs related to buying the bananas, oranges, water, some of the giveaways like the Santa hats or the candy cane awards.
Right.
So it was really self-supporting by the community. People put in money to keep it going, and my time and my co-founder's time was kind of our way to give back.
Right. So does the city give you any trouble by having these marathons and obtaining a permit?
Well, after we had Thanksgiving and Christmas, we decided to have a New Year's race, and then we decided to have a Valentine's Day race and
Wow.
a St. Patrick's Day race and Easter and July 4th, Memorial Day, Labor Day, and all these races went off very, very well, and the attendance kept growing. We applied for permits with the Parks Department. They cost only $25 for less than 500 people. So we felt like we really had a good thing going, and the word was getting out. So what happened was, for the Thanksgiving Day permit in 2011, we were contacted by the Parks Department, and they told us that there's too many people coming to our races, and that we no longer could only pay a $25 permit fee for our events. We applied for the permit for Thanksgiving 3 months before Thanksgiving, and we still weren't told if we were going to receive a permit until almost 24 hours before Thanksgiving. The Parks Department wanted all types of, red tape things met.
Right.
Like they wanted to increase our permit fee from $25 to $5,000.
Wow.
They wanted us to put a porta johns even though the bathrooms were open.
Right.
They wanted us to have all types of bonds and insurance. They wanted us to give them thousands of dollars in security deposits, and they wanted us to pay all types of overtime for their staff to monitor our race. They wanted us to have a Department of Health certificate for handing out water and bananas and
Right.
oranges. They told us when we were done with our race that we would have to take our bananas and orange peels with us and
Right.
throw them away somewhere else outside of the park. It became Suddenly they did not want us in Van Cortlandt Park anymore.
Okay.
And we had to fight and spend a tremendous amount of money to get that permit, and they only gave it to us 24 hours before the actual race. And we
Okay.
still had over 1,200 people come to that event.
Wow.
So it was a success, but at this point, the Parks Department has now denied us for the Christmas Marathon.
So aside from getting the permit for the Christmas marathon, can you get permits now for other holidays?
Well, the Parks Department, the Van Cortlandt Park Administrator, Margot Perrone, has specifically come after us and made it, I would say, impossible for us to try to hold any event in Van Cortlandt Park.
Right.
Because when we apply for a permit and we don't get an answer for 24 hours before the event, it's not possible for us to properly plan for the event. We can't promote the event properly. There's been a tremendous amount of time that's been put upon us to try to work with the Parks Department. So we're leaving Van Cortlandt Park. We're leaving the Bronx at this point. We're going to go to Westchester because we
Okay.
just don't have any other choice right now.
And have you gone to court over this issue?
We've hired lawyers and we've talked to them, and they've advised us that once you've exhausted all your possible means with the Parks Department, then we should get lawyers involved. But they advised us not to start sending letters from their legal offices because then they said that would for sure shut us down permanently.
So why do you think you're getting so much trouble from the city?
You know, it's a very good question, and I can't understand why the city would want to give us so many problems. This is not a 10,000 person event,
Right.
like the kind of races New York Roadrunners Club holds in Central Park. This is a Van Cortlandt Park. It's a park that's not heavily used. On holidays, there's nobody in the park generally. We're runners. We're not having barbecues. We basically gather at a starting line. Everybody puts on a hat or some kind of gag gift related to the holiday, and we just go off and just run.
Right.
And they just don't want us, and we are very frustrated. It's very sad because we've invited a lot of people from the community that have never ever entered a race.
Right.
They've never been involved in this sort of thing, and we're trying to introduce this to Bronx residents to take up healthy habits on holidays. And the Parks Department doesn't want to partner with us. They're making us want to go other places.
So you said Westchester is going to be the next.
So rather than pack up and just fold our organization, we said what we're doing works, people like it, and we want it to continue. So we went to Westchester, we went to Tibbetts Park, which is just about 2 miles north of Van Cortlandt Park.
Yeah.
You can actually get to Tibbetts Park on a trail called the Putnam Trail through Van Cortlandt Park. And Westchester County received us with open arms. We asked them if they wanted to have our event in their park, and within 24 hours they got back to us and said yes, no problem. They gave us a permit, and the kind of reception that we would hope to get from the Van Cortlandt Park Administrator's office. But Margot Perrone specifically wants to see us leave.
Right. So are you going to continue this fight to stay in the Bronx?
The Van Cortlandt Track Club would like to take on the role of holding holiday marathons, and we're happy to give that to Van Cortlandt Park Track Club, and we're hoping that potentially the New York City Parks Department will be more open to Van Cortlandt Track Club and allow them to hold these events on holidays. But for our organization, we don't have a choice right now. We have to go to another park.
Right. So how can the Bronx community even join efforts in keeping these marathons happening?
I think what the community needs to do is they need to write letters, they need to make phone calls. We need some influential people to get involved and see that this organization is altruistic in its motives and goals. We don't have any sponsors. We don't have any monetary goals or business ideas out of this. This is purely for the community, and it's something inherently good, and the Parks Department should stand behind it.
Right. And where would our viewers send these letters?
On our website, theholidayMarathons.com, there's going to be a page that we're putting up shortly that's going to list the influential people who we need the community to contact and say, hey, why can't some people gather on a holiday and just go for a run together?
Right. Have you tried any other places other than Van Cortlandt?
We applied for actually a permit to do a race in Central Park, but of course we were denied.
Right.
We understand that there's a lot that goes into holding races in a park like Central Park. We felt that Van Cortlandt Park is still the best place for this organization to grow,
Right.
and that's where we'd like to stay. Van Cortlandt Park in our heart is where we want the holiday marathons to exist, but we need the public to step up and let the politicians and the people in the Parks Department know this is important.
And I know you're really passionate about this because now there's a lot of controversy stemming from this issue. But what's your other mission aside from, this whole issue of letting you be in the Bronx, like for health reasons?
I mean, the idea of adopting healthier habits on holidays, creating a free environment where people can run. There's no entry fee in our races. It's all supported by donations from people that come to the event. And what the big idea is that we go to running clubs around the country in different cities, and we introduce this idea of having a community event where it's no cost fee, where it welcomes new people into adopting healthier habits, exercising on holidays, and they can use the Holiday Marathons brand to promote their races. And we are looking for a title sponsor that might put up prizes or awards and help promote this concept. And we think it's something that fits well with the Bronx, and we want to see it stay there.
Right. And so since you're going to have the races in Westchester now, marathon, excuse me, are there any cutoff times or registration dates coming up?
We don't require any registration. We don't require any type of qualifications. The races are free. We just ask people to donate a few dollars at the end of the race if they use the aid or collect an award. When people finish the race, they sign the results in a book. So when we post the results, it's a non-competitive competitive environment. People, of course, can run as fast as they want, but it's a place where people can gather together on holidays as a community and enjoy being with each other in nature.
So thank you so much for all the information. We definitely learned a lot about the holiday marathons. Now, if you could just give us your contact information, telephone number for our viewers to maybe sign up for this next race.
Sure. People can find out more about the holiday marathons at theholidayMarathons.com. And for each race, we have another specific website. For the Christmas race, it's thechristmasmarathon.com. And they can learn about everything we're doing on those websites.